he is very much driven by money. I think he's driven by power. I think he's driven by influence. Nigel's increasingly, in my view, in it for himself. And that's become abundantly clear to me. And I think my error, Dan, if there was an error, is arguably I got too big for Nigel's liking.
Rupert Lowe, Nigel Farage is furious with you, though. It only takes the mere mention of your name for his back to get up, for him to clearly look furious. It's almost as if he believes you have derailed his local election campaign. I'm going to talk about the rape gang inquiries and how you have exposed him for lying over that in just a moment. But first, Rupert, can we watch together this very spiky interview on GB News, which is Nigel's employer, when Christopher Hope, their political editor, admits that the station's viewers are absolutely furious about your treatment?
Well, we've got you now, Nigel Farage. Lots of viewers and listeners of GB News are disappointed about your falling out with Rupert Lowe. It seems all he wants is to meet you for dinner and put it to one side. Why? I mean, yeah, you're rolling your eyes, but they want you to get together. Why can't you just put together your rows and take on your rival parties?
Why don't you leave Westminster and come out in the real world? I've now spent 2 weeks. I'll be walking down high streets today in Derbyshire, in Staffordshire. One person in 2 weeks has mentioned this to me. As you know, an independent KC report that interviewed the women who'd made the allegations of bullying said there was credible evidence. Let's wait and see what the Parliamentary Committee does. And can you imagine what you'd have said to me, Chris, if I'd had bullying allegations made against a member of my team and I'd done nothing about it? Can you imagine?
Well, he denies all wrongdoing, of course.
OK, Nigel Farage.
He's shaken and stirred, isn't he, Rupert Lowe?
Well, Dan, in truth, I think he knows he's got it wrong. Or I think he knows the people around him have got it wrong. But is he big enough to admit that? Probably not. Nigel does not have a history of easily basically admitting that there's been a grave error of judgment made. So unfortunately, when people behave like that, they tend to dig a bigger hole for themselves. And I suspect that's what he's trying to do. I think he knows. I think a lot of people around him know. And look, my profile in terms of my knowledge, people's knowledge of me across the country is by no means as big as Nigel's. But I can tell you, Dan, that my social media footprint is now up to 8 times bigger than Nigel's. And, you know, with my history in football and with my history in a lot of businesses that I've run, you know, because I've chaired public companies, I've been chairman of the Prince's Trust South East, so I've done my bit for charity. Most of the libel awards that I've won in the past, I've given to charity. I'm now not in this for anything other than changing the way the country's governed. It's not about money. And, you know, I think people should ask Nigel about money. He's still doing little memes at 80 or 100 quid a pop. I think he told me he earned 27,000 in December, doing pre-recorded messages to people for their birthdays and things like that. And when I said to him, well, at 2 minutes a meme or a cameo, that's 600 minutes. That's 10 hours you spent this month, Nigel, when you're trying to set up a new party. Is that a good use of your time? I mean, look, he is very much driven by money. I think he's driven by power. I think he's driven by influence. And I think what we need people who are driven by what makes good government, what effectively delivers for the British people, and what is going to change the way in which British businesses flourish, the way in which British people flourish, and actually returns the norm of British interface, which is based on free speech, it's based on total freedom, and it's based on people being able to pursue their lives as long as they don't effectively damage the interests of the people who are around them. So I think Nigel's increasingly, in my view, in it for himself. And that's become abundantly clear to me. And I think my error, Dan, if there was an error, is arguably I got too big for Nigel's liking. And I'll tell you something. In my life and my experience, I'm not the most able person, and I've always surrounded myself by people who are more able than I am. And actually, that's what we need to do now. We need able people coming up with logical, sensible policy, which is going to change Britain for the better. And that's what I'm hell bent on doing. I'm almost through with talking about Nigel and talking about reform. I want to look at the next step of how I can make a difference.
And one thing that you have done already, which is going to be hugely significant, I'm a massive supporter of this, is launch the rape gang inquiry. It's extraordinary. All of those Indian bots that Nigel's speaking about, Rupert, have somehow managed to raise over £500,000. I mean, this is absolutely incredible. You have cross-party support. Even James McMurdoch of Reform UK is going to be on your panel of experts. So is the incredible Esther McVeigh, a very sound Conservative MP, and a wonderful victims advocate in Sammy Woodhouse. So this is going to be a really important project. Before we talk about the details of it though, Rupert, what I want to do is show a video which you had posted yourself on X, although it wasn't made by you, it was made by someone else, showing how Nigel changed his message on the rape gang inquiry from being something that he pledged to do, from then saying it was impossible. Watch this.
If the government will not hold a full public inquiry, we at Reform will do it. A full, open, public inquiry. We will raise the money at Reform UK. I will have no difficulty in raising the money. Live streamed, covered properly by mainstream media.
Will you have the statutory powers that will be granted to you through a public inquiry?
No, I won't have the statutory powers, but I tell you what, I think this would garner such massive public support that anybody that was asked to appear that didn't appear would look terrible. There's no point me holding an inquiry into this, or Rupert Lowe holding an inquiry into this, unless it has statutory powers. If we have an inquiry without statutory powers, it won't achieve a thing. We've probably got a few weeks, but no more than that. I am standing down as leader of UKIP. I resigned. I said I'd resign.
It's right that I should now stand aside as leader of UKIP.
Leader of the Brexit Party. You'll have to reform into the Reform Party.
I'm not going to go on as leader of Reform UK.
Coming back as leader of Reform UK.
Immigration is the #1 issue in British politics. We are not, as a party, and no party I've ever been part of, anti-immigration.
This is the immigration election.
I'm not going to get dragged down the route of mass deportations or anything like that. Deport anybody that's here illegally, as we used to. It's impossible to do. Literally impossible to do.
If you've read different on X over the last few weeks, sponsored by Indian bots, I suggest you ignore it.
It's a political impossibility to deport hundreds of thousands of people. We simply can't do it.
I've kept every promise I made in the run-up to that general election, and since.
Don't get fooled again.
Hi, Nigel. Rupert Lowe's threatened legal action.
Good.
Reform.
I'm
Would you be prepared
bored.
to fight him in court on that? If he took you to court, would you
I
fight
shall
him in
look
court?
forward to it. Thank you.
Do you think that Rupert Lowe is responsible for?
Yes.
Sorry.
Rupert did say that he was asked to tone down his speech.
You all laughed at me. Well, I have to say, you're not laughing now, are you?
Meet the new boss. Same as the old boss.
I'm going to let go. We're going to wave you goodbye.
So we took some of the music off there, Rupert, for copyright
You
reasons.
did. You took the music off, Dan. That's made by our friend Brugaloo, who is, I have to tell you, incredibly talented.
Well,
He's
indeed. And the point of the video, though, is effectively saying what? Nigel Farage is part of the establishment. He's going to let you down. He doesn't keep his promises. Is that what you believe the point of the video is? And do you agree with that sentiment?
That would appear to be what he's trying to demonstrate. But I mean, on the crowdfunder, I sat next to Nigel. He didn't have a clip of me sitting next to Nigel in the chamber when he said he would have an inquiry. I've become increasingly vexed about this issue, as you probably know, as I've learnt more about it. And I actually was very outspoken about it in January in the chamber. And I'm very glad now that the Tories, particularly this wonderful Tory MP called Katie Lamb, made a wonderful speech in Parliament last week about it. So I think we are moving the Overton window in terms of people being happy to talk about what I think is probably the biggest blot on and stain on our history. And this goes back an awfully long way. I mean, back to sort of early 2000s, and it's got progressively worse, and I'm told it's still going on. So I really think the Labour Party should be having a full inquiry with statutory powers, and there should be a timescale for that inquiry to report. People actually criticize me for having this crowdfunder, but I think, as you say, the fact we've raised so much from so many people shows that this is of huge concern to a great number of British people. And frankly, if we do nothing, nothing will change. So I make no apology for having the crowdfunder. I'm incredibly humbled by the amount of people and the amount of money we've raised. We're going to put together a committee of people who are cross-party. I don't think this is a political issue. I think this is an issue of right versus wrong, light versus dark, bad versus good. However you want to look at it, this is a vile chapter in British history. And it's quite extraordinary that the powers that be have not chosen to look further into this and to punish those people who've clearly been perpetrating the most vile crimes against some of the most vulnerable people in our society. So I'm absolutely unapologetic for doing it. I've given a reasonable chunk of money myself because I feel so strongly about it. I'm absolutely delighted that I think over 18,000 people have now donated, which is incredible.
It is.
And we're going to try and ensure that with the help of Sammy, who I gather you were on a cruise with last week.
Sammy Woodhouse, great woman. Oh my goodness, she is so inspiring. Such a brilliant choice.
We've got Recusant Raja, who's done a hell of a lot of work on this. And as you say, I'm putting together a group of people who will hopefully come
Labour,
up.
where's Labour? Are you going to get a Labour MP, Rupert?
Well, I've
Surely.
been talking to Labour MP today, but unfortunately I have to report I haven't been able to persuade them. I think they felt they would lose influence within the Labour Party on this issue if they accepted a position.
Total disgrace.
But I've got a few other ideas. I'm trying to find the right chairman. I've tried a couple of people for the chair. So look, it's going to take up some time, but I think it's a really important issue. And I'm hoping that the government will look at how much concern this is to how many people. And when we actually come up with some of the detail of quite how vile this issue is, that through whatever means we can use, whether it's a judicial inquiry, judicial review, whatever means we can use, we need to, as a country, shame Labour into having a statutory public inquiry. As I say, it's got to be a quick inquiry. And I think we want punishment, as I've always said, for those people who perpetrated the crimes, those people who presided over those people who perpetrated them, the people who knew they were being perpetrated and did nothing. Obviously, those police forces which didn't do enough, those local councillors who didn't do enough, the social services who didn't do enough. And I think until we've done that, Dan, I don't think the country can move on. And I think people on the ground agree with that. And I'm delighted to be trying. And whether I succeed or not is not the issue.
No, we have to do something.
It's better to have tried and failed than not to have tried at all. And that's where we are.
But first, we've been told our whole lives that wrinkle creams were the easiest way to look younger. Now one doctor says that's nothing but old news. According to Dr. John Lake, the world-renowned Beverly Hills beauty expert, most wrinkle fixers on the market are nothing but glorified moisturisers. He says they actually hardly make a dent on your appearance. Some, and this is the worrying thing, can even be harmful to your skin. Now recently, Dr. Lake has focused his attention away from mainstream cosmetic practices. Why? or so that he can pursue a revolutionary anti-aging breakthrough, one that some experts say could empty the wallets of the cosmetic industry. He says it's almost like Photoshop for your face. You may even be mad after seeing how easy it is to visibly erase your wrinkles from view. His personal clients have dubbed his new do-it-yourself technique the age rewinder method because it can take years or even decades off your appearance in under 2 minutes. In light of this amazing breakthrough, Dr. Lake has released a step-by-step video to the public. It's free, it's uninterrupted, where he outlines exactly how to use this simple solution from home. And he says if it even helps one person look younger or feel more confident, he'll be thrilled knowing that he helped. Now, you won't be surprised to learn the video's gone totally viral, started being shared on Facebook, since then well over 2 million views, and the comments and feedback are outstanding. Thousands of women actually report they look decades younger. One commented, "Best results of anything I've used. I can't believe how well this works. I'll never stop using this. I don't understand how it works. The results are great. Thank you." So you can find out more about this right now. You just need to go to bhmd1.com/outspoken or click on the link in the description box below. Let me repeat the address: bhmd1.com/outspoken. Now, there is one thing Dr. Lake asks from his viewers. If watching this video helps you look and feel younger than you have in years, then please share this video with your friends and loved ones, because together we have the power to help as many women reclaim a youthful look as possible. So go watch the video at bhmd1.com/outspoken right now, or just click on the link in the description box below. But now, back to the show. Well, Alison Pearson on the Mark Steyn cruise told me that she now believes the rape gangs are the biggest scandal in British history. And
without a shadow of a doubt.
And we have to do something. We can't just sit back and allow Labour to cover it up because they're trying to protect the Muslim vote. But look, Rupert, I've got to move on to the raw politics, please. I wanted to share 2 posts on X with you from the past 24 hours. First, Bo Dade, who wrote, "Dear Mr. Lowe, are you going to form a new party or movement and lead us into a new politics? I need to know. We need to know. We're dying out there, sir. We are in extreme need. Now's the time. Don't let the days go by. Yours sincerely, Bo Day." And then Ben Habib, your former colleague, former deputy leader of Reform UK, posted, "Every day the UK changes just a little more for the worse. Every day. We're all aware of it. We feel it. We don't need statistics to inform us that our country is being not so slowly scrubbed out. We need a movement able to stop and reverse the damage. It is urgent." And today, Rupert Lowe, we learn that Ben Habib is planning to take control of the Integrity Party and perhaps is going to use that as a vehicle for a new political movement. Have you had any discussions with him? Do you know about it? Are you on board in any way? And what's your feeling about where this goes, given the urgency that Bo Dade says, look, we need you to do something here?
Well, look, I feel that I would like, as I said earlier, to find a platform which gives us a chance of changing the way in which we're governed, Dan. But as we said earlier, the lawfare that Reform have pursued against me, which I think has been bestowed on me by various Tony Blairite laws, which I thought we were all standing on a platform to repeal, means that I'm currently still under police investigation. That grinds through at glacial pace. As I said to you earlier, I'm completely innocent of any of the claims that have been made against me. I, at the end of the day, am now a hostage to a system which grinds slowly through, and it punishes you whether you're guilty or whether you're innocent. So my lawyers give it a 99% chance of being dropped. If the 1% comes up, that just confirms to me that it's state lawfare. And at the end of the day, that would just make me even more entrenched. But until my name is cleared, I think all options are open. I know that Ben has now done what he's done with the Integrity Party. I'm not part of that at the moment. I do talk to Ben. I admire him greatly. I think he's extremely clever. I think he was treated very badly by Tice, Farage and Reform. He did an awful lot to keep Reform going when Nigel Farage left the field to make money. And Richard Tice was running the party, or arguably co-running it with his girlfriend Isabel Oakeshott. So we all did a lot to keep the party going. And, you know, I think I can't make any decisions until my name is clear. Now, I'm assured that shouldn't take very long now. So I will then be in a position to make a decision. I also read an article today that the Tories would like me to join them. Well, I get on extremely well with a lot of the Tories, and there are some very good young Tories, as I mentioned, Katie Lamb. There's another chap called Jack Rankin. I mean, there's some very good young Tories, but the problem they've got is that they've got a Tory party, Dan, which is dysfunctional in that a lot of the Tory MPs are not Tory. They're Lib Dems, and they'd be better off in the Lib Dem party. So until they can sort out head office and they can sort out those MPs who arguably aren't Tory, I think it's difficult to see how the Tory party is going to deliver for Britain. So
well, I did want to read out what Kemi Badenoch had to say about this in the Sunday Times yesterday, because it was odd. And it sort of felt to me like everything that Kemi Badenoch does at the moment, you can never really realise if she's Arthur or Martha. So in the article, she's asked whether she would welcome former Reform UK MP Rupert Lowe. And she says, I would like positive defections, not negative ones. But then she goes on to say that she has given her tacit approval to Tory council leaders to form non-aggression pacts with Reform in areas they cannot win, saying, I trust Conservative councillors to make the right decision. So did you take that as her saying she doesn't want you, or that she's keeping the door open?
I think the door's very much open, and as I say, all options are open. I want to keep all options open. There are some very good Tory MPs. There's some good people in the Tory party. I read it that Kemi would like to see the back of this police investigation. And as you know, Dan, in life, I've had this with my football career. I had a manager or a head coach who was taken or treated very badly by the CPS. His case collapsed, but at the end of the day, as an innocent man, his costs were taxed and he had to write a check for £250,000. So this country has a habit of treating the innocent very badly. And I think I've just got to clear that and get rid of the no smoke without fire brigade, and then I can move forward. And I read Kemi's comment as referring probably to that. And I think in a way,
maybe fair
if
enough.
that is what you referred to, I do agree with her. And that's why I think I've got to put this behind me. So hopefully the Hammersmith police who have been dealing with this will pull their finger out and get on with it.
Pull your finger out, exactly. We can't wait for months because, as you say, the process is the punishment. Rupert, I also wanted to ask you about Matt Goodwin. I'm not sure what your personal relationship is with him. I've always liked him a lot, and he's appeared on Outspoken, have a lot of respect for his work. But he's taken a very interesting approach to your defenestration, and he posted at the weekend a poll which showed Reform in the lead, saying Reform lead again. I noticed the people tweeting about the looming implosion of Reform have stopped with a laughing out loud emoji. Now, that seems to suggest that he is completely comfortable with your treatment. It also seems to suggest that he is now almost operating in lockstep with the party, which is an odd thing for me because I, as an independent journalist, always believe that you've got to hold political parties to account. Do you know what is going on with Matt Goodwin and Reform? Is he effectively now part of their PR operation in a way? Because I can't really work it out, but I just know he was very strongly against you.
I've got no idea, Dan. I mean, I like him like you. I've got a great deal of respect for the work that he does. Of course, he's come from the other end of the political spectrum, as indeed a lot of people do change as they get older. I took him out for lunch. I think he's very keen to be an MP, and Reform obviously offers him that opportunity at the moment. I took him out for lunch, and he then cancelled lunch with me on the basis he was held up on his way back from Italy, and I haven't heard from him since. So I don't think he knows the ins and outs of what's happened to me. He probably doesn't care. I think you have to go back to what I call the 5 golden rules of business, which is what's in it for me. And I think he looks at it as what's in it for me is being Matt Goodwin MP. And that's what I think probably is driving most of his loyalty to reform. And good luck to him if that's what he wants to do.
Yeah. I have no problem with that.
I bear no malice towards him. I think I actually subscribe to his
too.
His news sheet. But
excellent Substack.
It's very good. The Substack's extremely good. So I read it with interest. But it's disappointing. I think I wouldn't call him a friend, but I've got to know him quite well, and I've had quite a lot of interface with him. We spoke at various Reform Party conferences, not least the one last September, and I've got to know him reasonably well. But I haven't heard much from him. But you know what, Dan? I quite like finding out who my friends are when things go quiet and if things are difficult. You know who your friends are, and that's a pretty good way of cleansing the Augean stables, frankly. So when you clear your name, you know where the goodies are and you know where the baddies are. So you make a mental note of that.
No, indeed. And look, I've had that experience myself over the past couple of years. I guess the one thing that I would say, though, is that I just wish people would be honest about where they stood, because I am totally transparent with my audience that I am an independent commentator. I don't shill for any political party. I'm not a propagandist for any political party. I just want to tell you the truth. Likewise, I'm not trying to destroy Nigel or attack reform in any way. I just think we need the truth out there. And I think we have seen from quite a lot of commentators that probably deep down what they want to be is a Reform UK MP. And that's totally fine, by the way, but I think it just means that they're fulfilling a different role. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.